During the latter half of 2009, Greggs decided to change their advertising to reflect their heritage as bakers. This included the introduction of a new strapline, the home of fresh baking, and the search for a creative idea to bring this to life on television, in print, and in the shops. The agency challenged with this task is Gratapalm, a Leeds-based advertising agency, and who are already working with Greggs on an in-shop communication and shop design.
Well, normally when you show a TV commercial, you will show possibly rough scamps, maybe get to storyboard stage. You're trying to sell in a concept. We were very, very lucky in this case in that the production team had volunteered to help us get what we call an animatic, but in doing so, it allowed them to demonstrate to the client clearly what we were trying to achieve.
So let's ask Gratapalm creative director Pete Camponi what inspired their idea to bring the home of fresh baking to life.
The inspiration behind the script that we're shooting came from the line. We were given the line, the home of fresh baking, and then we sat down to think about it, and the first thing that really came to mind was that we should go and have a look at a bakery. We really should go and check out how the products are made and really prove to ourselves that the home of fresh baking was going to stack up and it was actually true. And actually, what is amazing, and I didn't realise it, is that the bread that Greggs bake is just like you would bake it at home, except it's just on a bigger scale. I came back from the bakery and sat down and chatted to Rick, and probably within an hour or so we'd sketched out the first script, which we called Happy Bakers.
Where we've been with Greggs the last few years, we obviously had the Paddy McGuinness campaign. Paddy really helped us put Greggs on the map, but I think we all felt it was time to move on, and I think it's time to take the campaign on to the next level, really. So this campaign is really trying to get our food credentials across. For us specifically, that's about being bakers, and it's really an opportunity to get credit for freshness and quality.
We came to a point where there's so much that people don't actually know about Greggs and about the freshness of our food and the quality and about what a great company it is to work for as well. And there's all of these great characters and personalities in Greggs. Back in, I think it was October, November, and Rick and Pete and Gordon kind of pitched the idea of kind of happy bakers and bakery gym to us. And we saw it and we heard the music and we all just kind of went, that's it. And you kind of, I remember looking around the room and we're all just like big smiles, and everyone just kind of went, this is really great, and everyone got really excited about it. And I don't think I've ever seen an idea pitched before where everyone's immediately just got it and gone, that's absolutely Greggs. So that was brilliant.
Once the idea was agreed, the search was on to find a production company to produce the TV campaign. After an exhaustive search through some of the best commercial production companies in the country, the team settled on The Mob and director Vadim Jean.
As soon as I heard the piece of music and even the two-line concept of it, I knew this was going to be really, really magical, because as soon as you hear the music, you smile. And we shot the tests, and I remember us all turning to look at each other after the very first take, because the minute we'd seen those Happy Bakers dancing the tune to it in the bakery in Enfield, we just thought, ooh, this makes you smile.
Making TV commercials is a complicated and expensive process, so absolutely nothing can be left to chance. There is a detailed pre-production process where every last detail is costed and planned. This culminates in a pre-production meeting where everything is discussed and agreed, and every last shot is storyboarded in advance of the shoot. It was decided that the setting for the ads would be a combination of one of the Greggs bakeries and one of the shops, which would be both real and partly created in a studio in Manchester. After much discussion, it was decided that the bakery in Enfield in North London and the shop in Stockport were most suitable to give the right tone to the films. The cast for the ads is to be made up of professional dancers and Greggs staff from the shops and the bakeries.
The most important thing is to get across our bakery expertise. But when you employ 19,000 people and you have 10 regional bakeries, then the people are absolutely an intrinsic part of that story, really.
Vadim chose a Manchester-based choreographer, Julie Kavanagh, to choreograph the routines for the commercials. Here we see the dancers being put through their paces on one of the last rehearsal days in the bakery. Julie explains why it's crucial to have everything worked out in the finest detail before the shoot begins.
I mean, at the end of the day, we've been working with people that have never danced before, so I'm really pleased with what they've come up with. I'm really pleased that some of them have put their own little style and a little twist on what I wanted them to do. Some of them took the direction really well, so yeah, I'm really pleased.
Here, Vadim talks us through why he felt that parts of the shop needed to be built as a studio set, rather than be shot on location.
I need to get all the beauty shots of the sandwiches, of the pastries and so on. I need to be on long lenses further away. You can't knock down the wall of a shop. Whereas here, if you have a look, you can see that we've been able to take the flats away so that we can shoot with long lenses through to make everything look more beautiful.
After 6 weeks of preparation, day 1 of the shoot finally arrives, and everyone is at the location bright and early. Vadim gives his final notes to the dancers and other cast members, and it's roll camera.
Well, as you can see, we're trying to shoot this while the bakery's still working. And so far, touch wood, we've actually not affected production, I don't think. So I think all the local bakeries are going to get their bread in the morning.
I think we're doing very well, although it's getting a bit late now. It's been a 15-hour day so far. About time that we should go to bed.
After the day travelling north and a good night's rest, everyone is raring to go for day 3.
We were in at 7 o'clock this morning, quite early, producing the sandwiches, bake-off, and making sure everything looks as wonderful as it can do.
This is the final day of the shoot in a studio in the centre of Manchester.
We've had to get the new products in that we've not launched yet, so that's been quite hard work to get them, but everybody's pulled together and we've got them, so they look fantastic.
I think Home of Fresh Bacon really sets us apart from our competitors. It makes us focus as an organisation in terms of what it is we actually want to deliver, and it's something that everybody internally can actually get behind as well.
Making a TV commercial doesn't end when the shoot finishes. The film has to be processed, edited, the music has to be composed, and any special effects that the finished commercial requires will need to be added. The first stage is the offline edit, where all the selected shots are edited together into a rough cut for approval by the client.
Hi Gordon, how are you?
I'm alright, you alright?
Very good, thank you. We've just presented the 60 and the 30 to Kay and Graham. It was a resounding...
We like it. It's a success.
Everything's gone smoothly so far, fingers crossed. I can't see any reason why anything should change from that. Looking good.
Next, the film is colour corrected or graded to give it the most appropriate look.
We've gone for this warm, nostalgic look, which is bread tones, for want of a better term. You know, there's sort of toasted colours, warm colours. Always you're picking up information that you don't necessarily know you're picking up. And we do that in day-to-day life, and colour is a massive, massive part of that. Warm tones tend to promote a feeling of well-being. You know, if we graded the whole thing cool and blue, that would be very much at odds with the message.
If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake, baked a cake, baked a cake. If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake. How'd you do, how'd you do, how'd you do?
The music that has been chosen is a classic track first recorded by Gracie Fields. Here we see the track being re-recorded in the same style. The decision was taken to re-record so that the music could be timed to fit the action exactly. Finally, in the online edit, all the shots are tidied up and assembled into the finished commercial.
Every job has its own unique challenges, and that's what makes it interesting, really. With this, we've had some little bits of clean-up work, because obviously the job was so beautifully shot that any work that we need to do needs to be totally unintrusive and invisible to anybody watching. So that's always quite interesting to do, because your job, if it's done well, is never noticed.
So what we're doing here is we're combining the elements that we shot in the studio into one hopefully seamless reveal of the line The Home of Fresh Baking. So there it is.
Now the finished commercial is shown to the client for approval, and we can finally see what all that hard work and effort has resulted in.
If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake, baked a cake, baked a cake. If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake. How'd you do, how'd you do, how'd you do?
Greggs bakers are happiest doing what they love, baking.
If I knew you were coming, I'd have kept a pot, coffee pot, nice and hot. If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake. How'd you do, how'd you do, how'd you do?
Every day they skillfully bake our best ingredients to give all Greggs sandwiches, savouries and cakes the fresh baked taste that everybody loves.
If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake. How'd you do, how'd you do, how'd you do? How'd you do, how'd you do, how'd you do?
Greggs, the home of fresh baking.